I am a huge fan of the Arrowverse. I literally loved most of the different seasons that they had. And to me, this was, I think, one of the best DC projects that they have. I'm not a huge fan of the movies, and especially with what's been going on with The Flash and Ezra Miller. I am not a big fan of the movies. I just there's something about them, like when it comes to Marvel, there's a difference. Like oh, this is really, really cool. When looking at like Marvel and DC, I've always said that the DC shows were the best, but the films have been the worst. But when it comes to Marvel, the movies are the best and the shows are the worst. So when I kind of was looking for today's sort of topics, I saw one saying the CW boss reveals why the network killed the Arrowverse. Now, I'm going to be posting this on my main channel as well, and I kind of really wanted to talk about this one at the same time. So yay, it's going to be everywhere. So, first of all, this is on the direct. CW bosses reveal why the network killed the Arrowverse. To me personally, I think the way that the Arrowverse started dying was when they started with a few characters. Legends of Tomorrow I thought was absolutely fantastic. It was one of my favorite shows. But when they did the whole Zari line, and where it's like, oh, she had to stay in the totem and then her body got switched out for a guy, and like all that kind of romance, that kind of build up just seemed to fall flat, and it really, really annoyed me. And especially since they were making like weed jokes all the time, like, it would be like, hey, Nate, blah, 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 we need to save this world. Do you want to come out here? Can you help? And it's like, oh man, no, I'm just going to go, refresh myself. And it was just constantly, that's how I always saw it's just weed, it's just drug jokes, because to me I thought that they wanted to be, I don't know, like in with the kids. Like if they kept making those jokes, it would be like, oh my god, we can relate because the legends are this, like, oh my god, they're the cool people. And especially like with Flash as well, where writing, and to me personally, I think that they started to kind of hate on like the male audience as well as the male characters. I generally thought that really started to bring down the tone, and obviously they didn't focus on Barry. It was literally anyone could become the villain of the day, and I think where that series went down is when they brought in Cicada. Again, it was just a weird thing, and then the finale. Don't get me started on the finale. I'll be making a video on that at some point because I feel like there's so much to say about it. But with this article, let's read it. The CW president, Brad, explained the reasoning behind the death of the network's Arrowverse. The recent end of The Flash with Season 9 brought the Arrowverse to a swift and perhaps uncircumstantious end, one by one. Flash Sisters series like Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow either ended or were cancelled. And if you haven't seen the ending to Legends of Tomorrow, it felt like they were bringing up one last season that they could have done, but then they just kind of dropped the ball and it was cancelled. One of my biggest pet peeves, and it's the reason why I don't invest a lot of time into these shows, not unless I know that there's definitely a next season or at least a couple, is when they turn around and they just cancel halfway through and they don't finish the conclusion. So Legends of Tomorrow had the part where they were arrested by the Time Bureau. What happened to that? Like, you could have had a really nice ending where the legends all went their different ways, but no, they wanted to lead into a new series, and I think they fucked themselves, and it really fucking annoyed me. Like, generally, really, really annoyed me. And future programming that may have been in the pipeline, such as Justice U, ceased development. Now, I didn't know anything about Justice U. So the Justice U thing was meant to be a thing where they would have like the Justice League version or something like that. So that's kind of cool. I might come back and make another video or we'll talk about this in a bit. Indeed, the once viral and robust shared superhero universe dwindled to but a single series, which was now concluded. But in the final nail in the Arrowverse's coffin seemed to come from the CW network, which was the home to the series being acquired by Next Star Group in 2022. Now, there was a whole thing where in this, like, they were selling off the CW. It didn't make enough money. It wasn't making money with the shows. But I feel like you could have, at least if you were going to like cut everything off, then you would have done something completely different and really like kind of really given something to, how do I say, like given a end for people who have been with us since day one to go, no, cool, I'll kind of like, we want the end of this. The Hollywood Reporter interviewed the recently installed president of the CW, Brad, who got the job after Warner Brothers sold the network to Nexstar. He took over from the longtime CEO, Mark, who continued championing the Arrowverse and greenlit most of the shows during his tenure. Brad, who was previously quoted as saying the primary goal was to revamp the CW into something profitable after years of operating at a loss, shed further light into the decisions made that ultimately ended the Arrowverse. They were the hallmarks of the CW for a long time, as we look forward to try to make this network bigger and profitable. Frankly, as much as we all love these shows, they had their time. They're not working on linear. Now, I would probably say that the Flash was one of the CW's biggest networks. Now, when I was kind of reading into this, and we'll get into this, like the sort of programming that they want, yeah, every single place is going to do the same as what they're doing on television with like kind of reality TV shows and stuff like that. When you have like such a big audience, you at least kind of, if you were going to end this a lot earlier, let's say, for example, a few seasons ago, then yeah, you would do this. Like it doesn't make sense to kind of ruin it where everybody hates it. So you're like, oh, now that we know that this is gone, we don't want this. Like, you know, it's going to ruin everything. It annoys me because they weren't thinking right. Definitely annoys me. Let's say that. The CW had been looking into adding cheaper, unscripted programming as its attempts to expand its market reach into older demographics. As such, the Arrowverse and related series like Superman and Lois had to go because, in the eyes of the network, they were too expensive to be produced. Now, cool, yeah, I understand that, you know, these shows must cost like millions of dollars to make, but at least you could easily turn around. And to me personally, I would have just written a really good season and kind of wrapped everything up rather than just fuck everything over. And you can tell that they just didn't care. And with hearing this now and reading it, to me it shows that they just really did not give a shit, and that's really fucking horrible. It should be noticed that Superman and Lois has not actually been cancelled yet, and it's still hanging on the verge. But with the show's budget being as high as it is, renewal odds appear slim. Okay, cool. Make that right now the part where you wrap everything off and just not cancel and go, well, there could be another series, because you're just going to piss again more people off. Ben continued, remarking on the fact that the CW doesn't possess the streaming rights to previous seasons of the shows like Superman and Gotham Knights, former currently streaming on Max, which is reportedly the network's great determinant. We don't have the rights to the prior seasons. It was frustrating for us because you can't tell people to catch up on Superman and Lois, and it's on HBO Max, and it's the 30th priority there. It's tough. If you want to be in the business on a show and connect that show to the audience everywhere, you need to have the whole library. Additionally, according to Ben, young adult viewers, such as the ones comprised much of the Arrowverse's audience, just aren't into broadcast television anymore, as today's youth are more interested in streaming originals. Ben intends to strategically use the knowledge and the statistics opportunity to reach different base audiences. The audience has abandoned broadcast, hence the opportunity to broaden the audience. What will become of the Arrowverse? First things first, the CW's plan to revolutionize its business by targeting older audience with reality shows and sports feels like a misguided gamble. Now, that personally right there is, you had an audience that would come in every single week, that would come back and watch it. Yes, we have progressed into streaming, we have progressed into other means, but you'd think right now that you would just generally kind of try to hook that audience that would keep coming back. But as we saw with the downfall of The Flash and other shows, it's probably because of the writing. It's probably because of the characters. Now let's take, for example, Chester. He was in The Flash, and, you know, he seems like a really cool guy. Where you first saw him, and he's like, you know, kind of not crazy, but he's, you know, very kind of energetic and out there. And I kind of thought that he'd be a really cool character to have all the way through the show. But the second that he was on Team Flash, he just became I don't know, guys, I don't know if I can make this, which made the complete character absolutely boring. And, you know, even when he had difficulties with certain things, it was just like, guys, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And that's the one thing that really, really got me in this, because I liked the character, but he became boring. And other characters as well, that they all just became meh. So this is the reason why probably some people just tuned out, because they didn't want characters or they didn't like the writing of them. And then here, when you also have like, you want reality shows, there are a dime a dozen out there. I guarantee if I turned on the TV to any station, there would be a reality show. You've got stuff like Upper Decks, you have stuff like Married at First Sight, and yeah, this does bring people in because they are like valid, but there are people who don't like those shows. So why aren't you right here like making shows for all the people? And again, like, oh, there wasn't much of an audience, that they've all moved on. No, they've all moved on because the shows were shit. The shows started to decline. How did you have The Flash, which was the CW's biggest show, and you just massively just destroyed it? To me, doesn't make sense, but you know, oh well. Unscripted series do pull in a very sizable audience, but they often fall short of captivating the zenithist unless they're really off-the-wall series. See Dr. Pimple Popper or The Real Housewives. And considering the CW is importing the questionable title F-Boy Island from Max, these are the exact shows the new leadership intends to pump out. Now, okay, right. F-Boy Island, I know what that is, I've never seen it. I would not want to watch that. That's me personally. Some people may be like, oh my god, I need to watch Fuckboy Island. No one cares. Like, you have a small audience that would probably watch that. I would rather go watch The Wall and watch paint dry than watch Fuckboy Island. If the CW is thinking, oh, fine, we're going to get this. It's just going to, you get one season and then people are going to like, huh? It's like MILF Manor. No one's heard of that. Fuck, that if that's where the CW is going to go, dear God. Factor that in with the fact that advertisements traditionally go for younger consumers, and it would be that the CW is sailing into the perfect storm of their own marketing. Moving on, the Arrowverse appears as dead as a doornail at this point. The Flash has reached the finish line. Superman and Lois isn't even connected to that world, and the Justice League just got axed before cameras even began to roll. Move over DC Studios co-CEOs James Gunn and Peter Safran are remaking the DC universe in multiple formats, including television. Whether or not an Arrowverse continuation or the follow-up would fit into their plans remains to be unseen, but it doesn't seem likely the pair would go out of their way to reconstruct what's come before over creating new content. Stephen Amell, former Arrow star, who recently came back for a guest spot on The Flash, said at the time that he'd be interested in doing an Arrowverse movie or limited series that did away with the trappings and constraints of network fate and was allowed to take more than a few risks. Amell has a bit of a sway, meaning if he would start in such a project, he might be able to get the wheels in motion. But it's up in the air as to whether he would pursue it that avenue or not. Okay, so effectively, me personally, I would love the Arrowverse to continue because I generally thought it would be really cool. I feel like out of all of them, you would need to finish off Legends of Tomorrow. It has been left on its own, and I feel like it's not been concluded. I generally think it's the worst thing to leave a show without the kind of the finishing motives on it and stuff like that. But yeah, just to me personally, I find it really annoying. I would love the CW to continue. Going down the road of reality TV show of Fuckboy Island, no one would probably want to watch that because you probably would get hate watches and stuff like that. But to me personally, I feel like the CW getting rid of Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Legends, Lois, and Superman and Lois, I feel is a bad thing right now. So technically, I think that the CW is now probably going to only attract one thing, and as soon as they try something completely different, it's not going to give them the right way. And to me personally, I just think that this is one of the worst moves that they could make. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Let me know down below. If you like this sort of content, hit the like button, hit subscribe, turn on all notifications, and I will catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimono Cat. Your help does go a long way to support the channel, and if you want to consider helping the channel, then links to my Patreon as well as the channel members are listed below.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれて ありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。